Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're diving into a new subreddit that's kind of a new Reddit, but also covering pretty much a lot of the stuff I already do cover, Nice Guy Stories, r/Nice Guy Stories to be exact. If you want to go check it out on Reddit, just literally type in Nice Guy Stories. I figured I would give this subreddit a shot just because I like doing these storytime ones and they honestly feel really relaxing whenever I get to record this kind of stuff. It feels like more of an audiobook for me. And honestly, if this does really well and you guys like it, I'll be doing a lot more of these. But let's get right into this, you know the deal, like, comment, subscribe, let's go. Our first story comes to us from username Honey and Ivy. Doesn't say a single word to me and he expects me to go home with him. Definitely not the most extreme story here, and it happened a few months ago, but every time I think about it, I'm just floored with the audacity of some guys. As an adult in college does, I go to bars with my friends. One night, I met a friend of mine out with one of her guy friends who I had never met. When I get there, she introduces me to the guy, and I see behind him is another guy just kind of watching. Neither of them introduced me to this guy, and he didn't introduce himself, so I assumed he wasn't with them. For the sake of the story, I will call him Watcher. The bar we were in had 2 floors, with the upstairs being for dancing. As I'm following my friend up the stairs, I notice Watcher has begun to follow us. I ask my friend, and apparently Watcher has friends, or at least familiar with the other guy, so I shrugged it off and went to dance. The whole time I'm dancing, he's standing slightly behind me and off to the side, enough where he can look at my butt but pretend like he's not when I turn to look at him. He didn't try to touch me or approach me in any way besides that, not even trying to speak to me, so I just kept doing my thing. At some point, my friend and I go downstairs to get some more drinks, and she informs me that Watcher told the other guy to tell my friend to tell me that I was cute. I tell her that if he wants to talk to me, he should do it himself. I know it sounds mean, but we're all adults. We're not in middle school. After a little while longer upstairs, the other guy says he has to go, but Watcher doesn't follow. He continues to hover behind me. Starting to feel uncomfortable at this point, my friend and I go down the street to grab some of our other guy friends from a different bar and bring them back with us to the first bar, hoping Watcher would leave because I was gone and we could have fun at the bar we wanted to be in without being bothered. Now back in the first bar with my new group, I'm waiting for a drink and talking to my friend about my crush, and we're just having fun gossiping when suddenly she says, "Hey, let's go upstairs," and drags me and the boys with her upstairs. Apparently she had seen Watcher eavesdropping on me, and I didn't see him until we were upstairs dancing, and I caught him doing the same thing he did earlier after following us up. After a little while of him following us, as we moved to different parts of the dance floor, staring and not saying a word, we all moved back downstairs and decided we should get going, so I slip into the bathroom before we leave. When I come back, my whole group looks a little stunned and I asked what I missed. Apparently, once I was out of earshot, Watcher blew up and started yelling at my friend and said, "Tell your friend that I'm a really nice guy and that it's her loss. I'm going to be rich and successful and powerful, and I'm better than any other guy she'll date or hook up with." And then he stormed out. My friend walked me to my bus stop and waited to make sure I got on one safely and that he wasn't hanging around to catch me alone, and I haven't seen him since. TLDR, a guy follows me around a bar all night without making any attempts to speak to me at all, not a single word, and then pulls the nice guy 180 and tells at my friend and tells me how he's such a nice guy and better than anyone I'll ever be with. I don't even know his name because he didn't even bother to speak a single word to me. You know, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret for getting to meet new people. You gotta speak sometimes. I'm kinda wondering what was going through his mind where he thought, oh, I can just radiate my nice guy aura and that will draw people to me like a magnet. Unfortunately, he kinda sounds like the type of guy who was never told no when he was growing up and just expected everything to go his way. That way he figured he could just hang out at a bar, stand still like a statue, and people would just come up and say, "Hey, I like your attitude, I like your personality, and I like what you're saying. Let's go to the back room. You're not just a regular nice guy, you're a dumb nice guy." Our next story comes to us from username Caramel Sweetie. Nice guy coworker tries to steal me from my husband. This story is probably too serious for the sub, so I'll push all the fun stuff to the bottom with the TLDR. Feel free to skip to the end. For context, I'm a young, newly married business major halfway through my degree. I just worked part-time to pay my way while my husband works full-time. No kids, unless you count the animals. A lot of people throw doubt on why we got married. I'm not publicly affectionate, and when asked about why we got married so young, we're both pretty casual about it. We aren't any less in love than anyone else. I'm just a reserved individual. Still, this isn't the first time we've had some idiot self-insert themselves into our relationship to either to fix or tear it apart. I have abandonment issues, so I keep a small friend group who have proven their loyalty beyond a reasonable doubt. Even so, I have a hard time controlling my paranoia fits, so I don't make new friends casually. My anxiety gives me self-destructive levels of paranoia. This will come back up later. Anyway, I started a new job in April working afternoons. Nice guy was the PT overnighter. I really didn't meet him until he started covering some afternoon shifts in July. He was 26 on the shorter, wider side. He had long hair, he kept in a ponytail, and usually wore metal t-shirts with a hoodie. He was 1/8 Japanese. That's part of why he liked to keep his hair the way he did, so I'll nickname him Samurai. Samurai was the closest coworker in age to me, so I tried to make small talk sometimes. He was really grouchy and offish to customers and other coworkers, but he went out of his way to be nice to me. He thought it was really cool I listened to metal, play video games, was a real person, not stuck up like other girls. I kinda got the inkling he might be attracted to me, but I casually name dropped my then boyfriend and he never acted offish about it. He even knew about my upcoming wedding, texted me congratulating me the day of and the day after. All coworkers shared numbers for some reasons. Early August, I mentioned since all my college friends were coming back from their hometowns that I'd be doing D&D again and talking about hunting down my dice and supplies. He mentioned that he played D&D and I casually told him if he was comfortable maybe you could play with us. We always ended up hosting it since the dorms aren't big enough. I'd been compiling all the information from our chats over break and deduced he and my husband liked a lot of the same stuff. This was step one in my plan to collect us as mutual friends. It went well too. He was shy and quiet, but ultimately we all had a lot of fun. That opened the gateway for us hanging out outside of work. See, he lived 50 minutes away from work and usually had work at 11 p.m., but our job has regular training usually in the afternoon done by 5 p.m. So after that, we started hanging out between training and when he worked so he wouldn't need to drive home just to come back. The first couple of times we hung out, it was in a group, which I insisted on. But I have male friends, and when we seemed like we was entirely uninterested in me in any romantic way, I stopped going out of my way to never hang out alone. I can't remember when, but at some point he opened up about issues he was having with his family, and I told him about my abuse story. We hugged and kinda teared up over it, but it was nice and it seemed platonic enough. After that, he messaged me about some friendly stray kittens he wanted advice about. I was involved with our local APL. I came and he genuinely had a shot ton of feral cats on the edge of the pseudo farm he lived on in the middle of nowhere. I showed him some resources and actually ended up adopting this friendly runt we found that was following us. It had been raining on and off all day, and so we got pretty wet and muddy scouting for cats. He let me borrow some sweatpants and a t-shirt. We ended up playing Xbox at his place for a little bit since I was already there. After that, he got weird about not coming to things my other friends would be at, coming over multiple times a week, but it was always when my husband was at work, which I didn't think anything of. It was at the time that my husband read through our message history and pointed out that he had asked a lot of invasive questions about our relationship and how he was giving me a lot of unprovoked compliments. I got kinda offended. He was lightly implying that I wasn't capable of managing my own relationships. I reminded him about how well they hit it off the first time and why would someone trying to get with me get so friendly with my husband. I did, however, tell Samurai that while I didn't mind hanging out separately, we all spend time as a group for efficiency because we are all very busy and that means a lot to me and that all my friends like each other. So Samurai started coming to group stuff and toned down. Everything was fine and we kept getting closer for almost a month. For reasons having nothing to do with him, I decided to switch jobs and tell him before I put in my notice in my last day will be this day. My last week of employment is this week. For the last 7 days, he'd been sending me unprovoked, slightly flirtatious messages. These are the real texts I got. Morning beautiful. You look great today. Seeing you always makes work better. I'll be so sad when you leave. Will we stay friends after you go? I'll be okay when I see you. Everything is fun with you. I just politely redirected the conversation. I had been spiraling into my anxiety-induced paranoia state ever since I decided to change jobs, so I was restraining myself from being rude to him or assuming he was flirting because I figured I was convincing myself that I wasn't being fair to him. A week ago, I was so convinced my former bridesmaid was just using me to be around my husband's attractive best friend. I'm very self-destructive when I get like this, so I go out of my way to mentally tune out from my friendships before I ruin them. This all comes to a head the day before I'm supposed to start my new job. He calls me saying it's really important and that we need to talk. It has to be today. I have a ton of shot that I need to do for this new job, but I tell him if it's that serious that I'll make time. He asked if we can do something fun while we're hanging out. It will be his treat since I'm always covering him on group things. It's getting kinda late, around 7 p.m. He arrives, I let my husband know I'm going out with him and that I think it might be about getting help with his drug problem. He had been trying to get a new job, but his substance addiction was keeping him from switching jobs because he would fail his drug test. I had been offering to help him for a hot minute, and he said it was something hard to talk about over the phone. We get in the car and go to Olive Garden. Now that there is light, I notice he cut his hair and cleaned up a little. After dinner, he insists we extend the night. I don't drink, so we went bowling. Super fun, but I had no inclination of why we needed to do this tonight still. I keep politely reminding him I still have things I need to do for my orientation class. Finally takes me home and cuts the radio by my house. This is condensed, but most of what is here is verbatim. This is really hard to say, but over the last couple of months, I've developed feelings for you if you couldn't tell, and I just needed to let you know how I feel. After a straight minute of processing, wait, what? I mean, yeah, I was kinda worried that you might have had feelings for me. I kinda stopped thinking about it though since, I'm married. At this point, I just got confused and angry, and the conversation gets very blunt from here. Yeah, I realize you're married, but we don't control how we feel. I just wanted to be honest with each other. Yeah, I realize you can't control how you feel, and maybe I'm somehow responsible for you developing those feelings. I was under the impression that you had decided you wanted to be friends and be close with my friends. So is this just you getting it off your chest, like a last goodbye because we can't be friends anymore? No, well, or am I supposed to respond? Did you think I felt the same way? What was I supposed to do? Just hop in your car and leave? Well, yeah, both maybe. I was hoping you had mutual feelings. We could if you wanted to. I saved up money, but I know you're married. I'm trying to control my emotions because having my fears verified is the worst thing that could happen right now. Hoping I had feeling? Samurai, I'm married. Not just married, I'm happily married. I've never once given you any reason to believe I was trying to leave my husband. This wouldn't be okay if I was trying to leave my husband, but I'm not. You watched me kiss him good right before this date. This doesn't make any sense. What was supposed to happen tonight? I agree. I leave my husband for a guy I've been talking to for about 2 months? Samurai, even if I did agree, how could you trust me not to do the same shot to you? What am I, some kind of wholesome person? I just throw myself at whoever? I've known my husband for 6 years. I met you in April. I've only been talking frequently since August. Did you think through this plan of yours at all? He goes quiet because I raise my voice. I don't know, you don't think about that kind of stuff when you love someone. Did you ever have any intentions of actually being my friend? He just sheepishly shakes his head no. You were just so nice to me, and especially after I met your husband, I thought we would have a shot at being something. I never meant for tonight to be the last time we spoke or to hurt you. I ask him to leave because it's not fair to either of us. We keep talking and I go inside. I hug my husband and cries my eyes out, hyperventilating, throwing up the whole 9 yards. He just held me while I rambled off all the bad thoughts I had been having about how all my friends have ulterior motives, and I can't trust anyone, and I'm all alone. It took me the whole night to calm down, and I ended up having to give up the position because I couldn't go in or finish what I needed to in time. I just called in and apologized, lied about having accepted another position. I calmed down, looking into going into a therapy because maybe I'm not as cured as I think I was. Job-wise, I'll be okay, and I don't blame him for the job thing. I do blame him for this hurt feelings I've been left with. In some ways, I'm glad he was dumb enough to think 2 months was long enough to seduce me. It would have hurt worse if I knew him better. TLDR, nice guy coworker pretends to be my friend for a few months just to gather dirt on my relationship and gets his in. Takes me on surprise date night, and when he knows I'm too busy for it, tells me he loves me and invites me to run away with him. Though subtle, he hits all the markers I've come to associate with nice guys, offering his friendship, offering his emotional baggage to elicit sympathy from me, pretending to care about my life, sudden, abrupt, and badly timed over-the-top love confession, all made worse by the fact that I literally just got married. All he was missing was the nice guy 180, but I think I scared him off with my own emotional 180. I know he is capable of blow up since he blows up all the time at work over little stuff. Barch probably realized he barely knows me and decided to give up rather than keep pushing the issue. And you know what? I think the whole giving up and not pushing the issue is the only smart thing he's ever done in that story. I'm honestly really hoping that you never have to deal with him again, and I hope you never see him at your work again. I just hope things start to get better for you. Cause yeah, imagine having somebody get really close and become one of your best friends, and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, this person's been trying to do something bad for a while, and then this is the only reason that they've gotten to know you? That's just very unfortunate, and I really do hope that you feel better after this. Nice guys really do not have any type of sympathy or empathy for the after effects for what they do. And with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you like what you had seen, like the video, comment down below and start a discussion with the other people watching, and consider subscribing and turning on those notifications for future uploads. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.